We are in historic Brockville, Ontario, for my first time ever visiting this city. It really is a small town, but it is one of the major cities / towns located on the 401 en route between Montreal and Toronto. We're closer to Kingston, the halfway point. It used to be known as Elizabethtown. Now I'm going to make one mild disclaimer, as this is not a proper tour of Brockville and its history. I know there must be many YouTube videos, or at least a few out there, of which cover that. So much the case that we'll only briefly cover the town, because the main reason that we're here is to explore the Brockville Tunnel, a free train and railway museum located just here along the shore of Brockville itself. You can see the tunnel ahead. However, we're going to have a quick look at some of the displays over here on the right, which shouldn't be missed before you actually go into the tunnel. For my fans of trains, you're not going to want to miss this, as there is a CN Railway Caboose here, or Canadian Pacific actually, Railway Caboose that is on site, and you can actually go inside and explore, which we're absolutely going to do. I've never been in one of these before. Completely restored. So essentially a caboose, for those that don't know, would be located at the end of a train, also known as a van to engineers. And what I was saying is that you can still climb up here these observation platforms, which is kind of cool. Really cool. And of course you can see where we're headed to out there. Unsupervised play area. Use play area at own risk. So this is now a play area. But back in the day, this is where you would sit and just enjoy the journey. Well, you're not really enjoying the journey, are you? You're supposed to be working. And then, yeah, it's kind of cool. Can't imagine what it would be like when this thing is moving. So it is a living quarters, of course, of sorts. So you have a working stove, along with water facilities, kitchenette, all the amenities you require to live. And then some more benches, which I'm sure were convertible. This was probably convertible to a bed. And you even have a fridge built in. I guess this is an ice box. Formally accessible. Lots of people try to get into that ice box. Braking unit. Still somewhat functional. I'm not an engineer, so I'm not sure if that's for braking. I know I have some train fans of the channel, so I want to get as much detail as I can. These are just beauty shots for those of you that appreciate them. If you like stocks, well, we got stocks. Some massive wheels. Now I know that, like, when I was a kid, I lived next to a railroad track, so it might be part of my fascination with trains, at least from a pedestrian standard, in the sense that I'm still interested in them, but more so than your average customer. Now, of course, we have a working train here, not technically. This is the mini train that you can take actually through the tunnel itself for $10 a ride. Children 3 and under are free of charge to ride the train. We're not riding the train, however. We can walk. Before you get to the actual tunnel entrance, you have this very informative board. It gives you an idea of the history of the tunnel itself. I'm not going to go through all the details. It's very fascinating. You can pause the video, however, if you want to read more. The tunnel itself was constructed in 3 sections, as you'll notice up here in the diagram. There is a lot of stalactites and minerals that have coated the sides of the tunnel due to water seeping through the structure from above. What an amazing place. Let's see. I'm sure it is. The Brockville Tunnel. It's a lot busier in there than you would expect for a Wednesday afternoon. It's the first day of the summer, just for reference. It is a working pedestrian tunnel. Enjoy the walk here in the Brockville Tunnel. Section we are currently in was actually a cut and cover section, so it was actually open at the top, as you can see, and then recovered. What we're approaching here is the ventilation shafts that actually are structured through the City Hall building, which we'll take a look at once we exit the tunnel itself. There is surveillance in here too, so it is completely safe. Pardon my short brief pause as I take a photo of this brilliant structure. As you can see, this is where the section of the tunnel construction has changed to a blasting section. Fascinating also, as you can see all the water dripping. I should tell you what the different minerals that are seeping through the sides are through that signage at the front, where we have copper, nickel, calcite, dolomite, and others all trickling through the water that end up part of this completely natural tunneling effect, creating caves naturally. And now you can 100% see the difference in this section where the blasting was actually used to construct the tunnel. They had to use gunpowder instead of TNT. This TNT did not exist at that time. The tunnel took 6 years to complete. In the 1850s. It's really a marvel. Train is approaching behind us, but I did want to see another ventilation shaft. In this section of the tunnel, you are getting dripped on a lot as the rainwater and groundwater from above seeps through the natural stone. And then of course ahead we have the final section, which is the most common way of tunneling, which was an excavation through the dirt. As you can see, the brickwork just above, as this section changes. Fascinating facts, as he just said, 1972 was the last year a train passed through this tunnel, 110 years of service. 1972 is also the last year that the Ottawa jail was open and then shuttered. The only reason I mention is because there was a vlog just shot earlier, of which you should definitely check out if fascinated with this region's history. And now we get to a very dark section of the tunnel, the final excavation area. And just so you know, if you are going to come here, that the tunnel is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, and it is free of charge to visit. At the end of our journey, which we will be at the other side of the downtown section of Brockville itself. Train is U-turning. That is a tight U-turn, but he's pulling it off expertly. Expert U-turn. Oh, I spoke too soon. He's got it. He's got it. That is a U-turn and a half. And they're off on the return journey. Further fascinating history is he just mentioned that these doors were put in place to keep cows out of the tunnel itself. Brockville is a beautiful town from what I've seen so far. It's very quiet, pretty confident that the original path of the train did not follow the path that we're on, but down through this area and this trough, as you can see, a railroad bridge in the very, or at least a road bridge in the distance, of which the train would carry on forward, likely to its next destination, either Ottawa, Cornwall, Montreal, among others. It's getting out of the north entry. It's not really that picturesque over here, but there is parking throughout Brockville, which is nice. Being in the back recesses of the town, you can't really see much from over here. However, that will change quickly as we make our way back over on this side. We've arrived back at the center of town. Well, the buildings, you'll see how really beautifully laid out it is from this vantage point. The town hall. I'm pretty sure this is actually the courthouse, as you have all the authority figures. There's an OPP office in there, there's a jail, and then the downtown unfolds before you. It is the Palais de Justice, or courthouse, and then picturesque downtown Brockville. And here is the Brockville City Hall, of which the railway tunnel actually travels underneath. We originally entered on that side and traveled underneath all the way over here. There's a lot more that I sadly could show you of this town. It is the gateway to the Thousand Islands, but time being what it is, there is another event going on just on the outskirts that I want to go check out quickly before going to Kingston for 2 other vlogs over there, of which we're going to explore the city and also Kingston Penitentiary. So join me for those if you're interested in further finding out about the history of this region. Really, the visuals. I'm not that historical, am I? Thanks for dropping in.